Well, here we are. It is Friday, the 22nd of May of 2026, and this is the weekly video. We do these each week. And if those of you out there that saw the video we put up earlier today and you're confused, this is the regular weekly video. That one was just a video that I wanted to get out about the Sotheby's sales in Hong Kong that took place a few weeks ago and how well they did. And it was an interesting series of sales. So take a look at the video. I thought that overall the market is still quite good. Some wonderful things sold, and some things brought some enormous amounts of money, as they always do in some of the bigger sales. And today we're going to talk about a number of sales that have finished, some sales that are coming up, and some results from over in the UK that took place at Woolley Wallis and Roseberys, just to give you sort of a sense of how all that went. So let's get into it. The first thing I wanted to mention was that there is a sale taking place. We did an on-site visit there yesterday with the cameras. We went in, previewed the auction at Grogan Company in Boston, and we're going to do a separate video. We're going to edit it up and get it ready to put out in the next couple of days. He has a very, very good China trade sale coming in, and there's some rare pieces, including this piece right here. And this, many of you will recognize right away. It's an Order of Cincinnati dish. These do not turn up in the market very often, as you know. They bring a lot of money typically. This one is estimated at 30 to 50,000, but in the past they've brought as much as 90, 98,000. And I examined this one yesterday, and the condition of it is outstanding. The enamels are all intact. The winged lady in the center is not chipped or any damage to it. It's in beautiful condition. So we'll see how it goes. And I went through the whole thing. It was over 200 lots. The sale is posted currently on Grogan's website. It's now on Live Auctioneers. We added it to the global pages and for the Patreon subscribers earlier today as soon as we saw it. So check that out. But anyway, you'll see the video when it comes out in a couple of days, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's a fun sale. There are no big reserves in it. They're there to sell it. It's a collection that was formed. It's basically a two generation collection. Two members of the family, the father and the son, were collectors, and it's known as the Binder collection. It's quite good. It's quite good. You're going to enjoy it. And if you're a China trade collector, pay attention, because a lot of the pieces in the sale are just in absolutely pristine condition. The condition of the pieces just amazed me, how good they were. All right, now on to other things that are happening. Some sales that are coming up. If you like China, speaking of China trade, is this. This is a really nice 19th century China trade gilt lacquer table. It's coming up on the 29th of this month at Copac in New York. And if you're a China trade furniture collector, you want to look at this table, because you'll notice that the gilding on the lacquer is in very good condition. The table is a little bit dirty. This looks like it might have been in a barn or something, because it looks like it's got a lot of dust on it, judging by the surface. That's nothing. That can be taken care of with a little lemon oil and cleaned up a bit. And it's got a nice looking paisley bag for the work bag under the sewing table. The estimate is modest. It's $300 to $400, $150 opening bid. A great little table if you're a China trade furniture buyer. And another piece of China trade that's coming up, and I talked about this, I did a video over on the Patreon side earlier this week. We talked about this table, and this is a really nice late 18th, maybe early 19th century. They're saying 19th century. I think it's an 18th century table. Chinese lacquered export games table. And this is coming up at Collective Hudson in Kingston, New York on the 31st of May. And this is a wonderful table. I love the gilding on it. It's got some wear to it. It's got but it has a very charming sort of rustic look to it, I think. And it's got the counter pockets here where you put your chips and so forth. And the top of the table has this very splendid gilt, almost Rococo looking top to it. The lacquer I think is probably buckled in a few places, the way lacquer does buckle on Chinese export furniture, because the wood shrinks and pulls it in. But the decoration overall looks like it's quite intact. It's a very nice table, and it's a rare form of China trade table. You don't see these very often. It's a very rare form. All right, which is important to note. The estimate is $2,000 to $5,000 with a $500 opening bid. I don't know if there's any reserve on it or not. They might have just put that estimate on there just to let you know what it could bring. I don't think that the estimate is an unreasonable number at all. I think it's a very good thing. And if you live near these auction houses, as I say every week, you're at a great advantage over anybody that's going to have to ship it, because to ship this table across the country is going to cost you $1,500 to get it there safely. So if you live somewhere near Kingston, New York, and you like this table, if it's within an hour or two drive, you might get yourself a wonderful piece of furniture. All right. And then other things that are coming up. You all remember the Sykes Gallery out in, I'm going to get a Casa Sykes in Cincinnati. I actually spoke to them yesterday because I wanted to get some information on a couple of lots that are in this sale. They had they've done the two very, very successful Ming blue and white sales. You may remember there were lots and lots and lots of Ming blue and white and Annamese porcelains and all of this sort of thing. Well, apparently this family, they were collecting back in the 50s and 60s from what I gathered, and they were from America. They ended up settling in America, but they bought a huge amounts of things back in those days when these things were really available and not difficult to acquire. And they just bought a lot of it. And there's a few more pieces in this sale that are quite nice, including this Yuan Dynasty dragon plate. This is a very, very nice plate. I've actually left a small bid on it to keep track of it. It's not enough to stop anybody, but I like to leave bids so I get notices to see how things are doing. It's a very nice classical sort of Yuan Dynasty plate. It's about 13 or so inches in diameter. Beautiful piece of celadon, and there's several other pieces. It's 13 3/4 inches, which is pretty much a sort of like one of the more well-known sizes for Yuan Dynasty pieces. They didn't date it as Yuan, but that's what it is. But they're just calling it a Long Quan celadon. And there's some other good pieces in here. There's some Mataban jars and whatnot. There is a very nice Ming silk kisi panel of a dragon. This is quite attractive. And this sale just got posted yesterday. It's got 19 people watching it already. But this is a nice piece of a Ming silk that's been mounted with a later brocade border around it to frame it. But very good color, no fading, no rips. Apparently it doesn't have any dry rot to it from the conversation I had yesterday. And it should bring several $1,000s. Right now it's got 3 bids, it's up to $250. I think it'll go way over that. But if you're a silk buyer, you want to look at this. It's a nice thing. It was probably done during the mid-16th century, and it measures 29 by 23 inches. So it's a decent sized panel. I would get it framed immediately and get it under glass with some UV protection, just to keep it just as it is, because the colors of this are really quite good. All right. Another thing that's in the sale is this. Now, this isn't an extremely rare thing, but it's a Daguan, appears to be a Daguan Marcan period taza with the famous wave palette pattern with famille rose enamels. It's a perfectly nice looking piece. It's got a little wear to the interior, but the outside decoration is good, and the color is quite strong on it. I like the color on this a lot. The estimate is reasonable. It should bring $1,000 to $1,500 or $800 to $1,200, somewhere around there. The estimate is $300 to $500, which is very reasonable, I think, from any standard. And then hopping along, oh yeah, this is something I wanted to mention. Those of you that like American furniture, Bronx is having a sale on the 24th of June, so you have plenty of time to think about it, but I wanted to throw this out there if you like it. This is a really fine New Hampshire, possibly Portsmouth area, federal period dressing table with a drawer in it. But I want you to pay close attention to the legs, how finely tapered they are. These are reeded legs, but beautifully, beautifully done. This is a really, really fine table. And I noticed on the interior of it in the drawer, there was an old sticker from Wayne Pratt and Company in Connecticut. Wayne was one of the best American furniture dealers in the United States by far. He was right up there. He was, right in that same pack as Israel Sack and Company and Pook and all these guys. And Wayne was a friend of mine. I'm in full disclosure. So this caught my eye because this was the kind of stuff that Wayne liked: natural surface, original finishes, in rare forms. And this is an extremely good New England federal table, probably from, like I said, southern New Hampshire or Portsmouth down there. But notice how the legs almost come to pinpoints. It's a miracle that this table is still intact in this way. Beautifully done. The top has a nice overhang to it. It has a shaped front. It looks like it might have some birch in it around the some of the lighter woods, but very, very nice. And that's just all natural coloring from age oxidization. It's not dirty or anything. It's estimated at $5,000 to $7,000 with a $2,600 opening bid. It's already got 12 people watching it. The sale just got posted, but it's important to realize that this table back in the 1990s probably would have sold for about $50,000. back in the day. That's just to give you some idea how much American furniture shifted, but it's still a great piece of Americana. So if you like American furniture, check out the Bronx sale. They've got some other pieces worth looking at too. And Chinese stuff looks great on this. All right. And then what else is going on? Oh, this sold just today, as a matter of fact. This was a really fine Wang Hing urn and a beautiful piece of Chinese silver, and probably made in the 1890s or so. They're saying circa 1900, which is fair enough. This is a very, very fine thing. And we talked about it over on the Patreon channel earlier this week as it was coming up. And I just thought, I had not seen it until earlier this week. And I thought, boy, what a piece of silver that is. And this thing is big. It's 18 inches tall, superbly well decorated, beautiful condition. It was estimated at 20 to 30,000, and it ended up going, as you can see, for 30,000 plus the premium, so around almost $40,000, $39,000 roughly. But a beautiful example of very, very fine silver, because Wang Hing made a lot of silver. His workshop was very busy, but most of the pieces they made, the vast majority of them were fairly small pieces, bowls, boxes, personal items, things that could be packed in luggage and brought home. This is not one of those things. This is a presentation object, and it brought a perfectly good price. It was 18 and a half inches tall. Wonderful piece of silver, nice piece of Chinese silver. Exceptional. And Wang Hing, as many of you know, was one of the preeminent makers. Now, this was one of the bargains of the week. We were talking about the sales that took place in London. You may recall last year, or 2 years ago, I forget it was 1 or 2 years, Eldred's on Cape Cod had some China trade paintings using the same, this is a Chinese frame, this is how they mounted them. This is a miniature painting, this is a very small painting. And Eldred's on Cape Cod had 4 of them in a sale last year. And I thought they were wonderful. I love this style of painting. And they ended up selling for about, I think it was around $5,000 or $6,000 for the 4 of them. And they were all very, very similar to this one. Same style, probably same workshop. And this one, somebody got a heck of a buy. It sold. This was at Drew Eats on the 20th. It sold for $470 US plus premium, so around $600 instead of $1,200 or $1,300. So it was about half price. That was an excellent purchase. For somebody, and I always hope that one of you guys, one of the viewers, got to buy it. And how many watchers did it have? It only had 10 people watching it, this is something I saw in the English sales. A lot of things were very, very good. They went for very modest amounts of money. And we're going to look at the Woolley Wallis sale, because there's some watercolors that went through there for practically free. And it's not because there was anything wrong with the work. There was nothing wrong with the work. Again, we're getting back to that. I think there was just too much stuff for the market to absorb as it is right now. And so there were some great bargains for people that were selling unreserved. This is another example. This was a very, very nice pair of large Kutani vases in Chinese form. And this was also at Drew Eats. And these were good size. These were, as I recall, I think these were they were like 12 or 11 or 12 inches tall, but very, very nice Kutani, unusual color, Chinese shape, obviously, Hu form, and a pair in Meiji period. And the pair went for $148 plus the premium, so under $200 for both of these, and they both are signed. They both had extensive signature and markings on the bottoms. Absolutely great buy. Absolutely great buy. And this is why I always say, leave a bid. Even if you think you're having a chance in the world, leave $100 on it. Leave $200 on it. These went for 110 pounds for the pair. And again, I don't think there was anything wrong with them. I think that was just the deal. All right. And then other auction results. This was the Revere sales was on the 19th, just a few days ago. They had these chicken cups. Now, somebody over on Patreon commented that they think that these had sold previously at Revere for 40,000. And if they sold for 40,000, it means a couple of people thought they were Marken period, meaning Qin Lung era. They're not. These were done later. But there were also a set of 4 of these that sold a few months ago in another auction for another company that sold for about this price, a little under this. These sold for $22,000 against a $3,000 to $6,000 estimate, and you add the premium on, of course. So they came up close to almost $28,000, $29,000 for the 4 cups. They did have their original case though, which makes a big difference. which makes a big difference. I believe it was Drew Eats had one of these cups by itself without the stand and without the crate, without the box, with a $3,000 to $5,000 estimate roughly, and it didn't sell at all because the collectors that are after these that seem to like these the presentation boxes, the whole package, as they say, and there'd be a door that would go down over the front of this. And at any rate, $28,000 for the whole package. Quite a thing, though. Nice presentation. And then over to this. This was at Material Culture a few days ago. We talked about it just last week, this painting. I just liked this painting. I thought it was a very, very nice Guan Yin, probably 18th century, beautifully done. I love the tiger she's sitting on. She has a wonderful face. You may recall I talked about her face. The mount is later. It's got a later mount, but it's an older painting, obviously. And the way this was done, I thought it was lovely. And I think 1,300 plus premium was a perfectly reasonable buy. There was also a Daoist painting in this sale, very similar in feeling, that went for about 1,800, brought a little bit more. But Daoist art has been sort of popular lately, so we'll see where that market's going. Anyway, this was estimated at just 400 to 800, ended up going for 1,300 plus the premium, or around about $1,700 roughly, somewhere around there. Or no, excuse me, $1,600 roughly. All right, beautiful thing. And then hopping over to this. This was out west. This was at Clars on the 16th, just short of a week ago. And this is a Shunji period 17th century dish. These with the quilling on it. These turn up fairly often. There are a lot of copies of these coming into the market. You want to be careful. This was a real one. It had a very, very modest estimate. What was the estimate? It was well, no, I guess it. Oh no, it had a good estimate. Okay, they nailed the estimate. All right, three to 5,000. This one ended up going for about with the premium, ended up right at about the high estimate, about 5,000. But it was a very nice example. They're often signed and marked on the back. Looked absolutely fine to me from what I could see. I was thinking of some other auction where one of these had been in there, and they'd estimated, I think, at $200 to $300, and it brought about $3,500 also. These always bring a good price. But this was a rather nice one. The decoration was quite successful on it. The facial expression is good. The color, the cobalt, is a very good shade. So it had a lot going for it. It was fairly good size too. It was 14 inches in diameter. And most of them are pretty good size. These are really for display. They're beautiful display pieces. So somebody got a very, very nice bowl. They didn't steal it, but they didn't overpay for it at all. So there you are. Now, Woolley Wallis had 3 sales come up, and the prices were, there was nothing wrong with the stuff, but the prices were all over the map. Something sold, something didn't sell, some things went very inexpensively. And this, again, is getting back to what I was talking about originally in the video, was that this is the kind of market you're in right now, so expect it. And if you're the type of person that likes to leave bids, now is the time to do it, especially when you have a lot of sales taking place in a relatively small geographic area all at once, because there just aren't enough people in the UK to cover all these sales. That's all there is to it. And I think it was just too much at once. I think everybody was trying to get on the mid-spring bandwagon of having an Asian art auction, but you need enough audience and enough power in the market with people out spending lots of money to support that broad a group of offerings. When you have Woolley Wallis, Roswell's, Drew Eats, Bonham's, Moore, all these other companies running auctions, Shepherd's, all these places are having auctions, and there just isn't enough. There isn't enough cash on the island to cover it all. So you're going to see some pretty reasonable prices. The things they had were excellent. So don't be bashful about getting a hold of them and saying I'd like to make an offer on some of the unsold lots. This part of the sale, the Jades all did quite well in the sale, as you can see. But these here, you got a couple of unsold lots here. And so on. Some of the other sales had more unsold lots. But I just want to go through some of the pieces. This was something I think we talked about during the preview. I just thought it was such a very nice carved greenish-white jade disc on stand. There we go. and let it clear up. There we go. We talked about this one last week because I thought the carving was so nice on it. Just beautifully carved, very good color, deeply carved, well finished in the back areas, the areas that are hard to get to, which is very, very time consuming for a jade carver. When you look into these, always look what's behind the relief work and see how well it's finished down below. And you notice how well the figures are done here, the puffy sleeves, the beautifully done heads, nicely polished, well finished. Every inch of it was handled properly all the way down. It was just a heck of a nice piece of jade, and it was estimated at 3,000 to 5,000 pounds, which I thought was pretty low. It ended up going for 50,000 pounds plus. That includes the premium, but 49,140. So in U.S. currency, that would be about $63,000. But a beautiful piece of jade. It was just a wonderful piece, and it measures 8 inches in diameter, roughly 21 centimeters. So it's a good size piece too. And then there was this Mei Ping. And we talked about this before because it had come from part of the Font Hill collection, which was, of course, that famous collection in the UK that had a lot of the loot that was taken out of the Yuan Ming during the Summer Palace when it was sacked by the British and the French. And this is a piece from that house. I don't know whether this is one of the looted pieces or not, but it's a heck of a nice piece of cloisonne. We liked it a lot. I liked the shape of it. The color was good. I thought the estimate was extremely reasonable. And in the end, it was. It ended up going for 5,000 over the high estimate of 25,000 pounds for 30,000 pounds, which is fine. That's a good estimate they put on it. It went a little bit over it, but it was a very worthwhile object. It measures around about 14, 15 inches tall, roughly, and it looked to be in very, very nice condition. So that was a good object. And then over to this was the inscribed gilt copper alloy figure of the Confession Buddha. We talked about the Confession Buddha the other day. It was estimated very modestly at 10 to 20,000 pounds. It blew that out and went for 48,000 pounds. A nice example. And this one wasn't enormous. It was, 24 centimeters tall, 24 centimeters in height, but it was beautifully done and inscribed and all that business, probably done during the around 1640 or 50, somewhere in there. Nice piece. And then over to this, the Famille Rose, the ruby ground jars. We like these a lot. They were estimated at 10 to 12,000. They went for 12,000 pounds, or that's about 14,000 US. But these are awfully nice looking. Beautiful, beautiful colors, nicely shaped. I love the sort of raspberry lappet collar around the top with the leaf pattern and so forth. Very nice with the little foo lions on top. And how tall were these? These were pretty good sizes, I recall. Yeah, they were 18 inches tall each. So this was a very nice buy. I think these are an excellent buy, actually. 12,500 pounds, or about 15,000 in U.S. currency for both of them. And they're big, and they look to be in very, very nice condition. So there you go. And then they also had a Japanese sale that took place. The Japanese sale was all over the place, as Japanese art is right now. They had a large contingent from a single owner collection of Japanese porcelain that didn't do terribly well, and I think there was just too much of it. But some of the early pieces, some of the early Arita wares, did just fine. If you go through it, if you're an Arita collector, you want to look at some of the prices here. But overall, I think that part of the sale did fine. You had this Arita jar, one of these covered pots, 17th century. It went for 3,500 pounds, or around $4,200 US, and it measures, what was this? I don't know. They're just giving a dimension of 30 centimeters. I'm assuming that's the height, so it was about a foot high. But a nice piece of Arita. A nice piece of Arita. We get it to open. There we go. Let the scene clear. Classic looking cobalt decoration from the 1680s, roughly somewhere in there. Very, very nicely done. You got some light and dark areas. You got almost heaping and piling colors in a few places on these old pots. This was a nice one, and it had this very, very lovely foo line on the top, looking skyward on it. Nice piece of porcelain, beautiful thing. The porcelains did very well, and some of the swords and subas and things in the sale did well too. All right. And then there was this big pair of Arita jars. These were quite nice and they were pretty good size. They were 73 centimeters tall. So they were about 27, 28 inches tall each. These were big pots. Again, circa 1680 or 90. And they ended up going, I think it was a very fair price. They were estimated at only 4 to 6,000, which I thought was kind of cheap. And they ended up going for just 10,000 pounds. And I think on another day, with less stuff going on, not so much competition out there for wallets and eyeballs, these probably could have done maybe a bit more. I think these auction houses in the UK have to get away from trying to have too many at once, especially on the heels of the Hong Kong sales. I know it's always been done that way, but with the money involved these days, I would think they should spread it out over maybe over a 2-month period instead of running work. The auction houses should work together to break it up a little bit, spread it out. They're just as too much, in my opinion. Even Asia Week in New York can be a bit of a challenge. And New York and that market's a much different market, and you don't have 20 or 30 auction houses running 400 lot sales of all this Chinese stuff. You've got a handful. You've got 5, something like that, 5 auction houses running sales, but you don't have the volume that you had in the UK. It's just my opinion on it. All right. And these were very, very nice. Now, these are some of the bargains of the day, because I actually talked about this painting last week. I thought it was a lovely 19th century painting of a gouache of a Mandarin figure. It was estimated, I think, for nothing, 150 to 250 pounds. Look what it went for, 25 pounds. Leave a bid. I know some of you are sitting there going, "Oh, I would have paid $25 for that." I bet. Yeah. And this is a nice, original, early picture. There's nothing wrong with this picture at all. There's no reason for that other than there wasn't enough competition in the room. I'm going to bet this was a single bid, an opening bid of $25, and the auctioneer took it and thought, well, it'll go up from there, and it didn't. And this is why, and it's a pretty good size frame. It measures, it's 35 centimeters, so it's 13 inches tall roughly, and just about 10 inches wide. So it's a perfectly good size, framed and matted. You couldn't get this framed. The frame of this thing probably cost a couple of $100. But at any rate, somebody got a wonderful buy. That was a beautiful picture, and the paper was in good shape. I didn't see any real foxing problems or anything like that with it. And then there was this. Now, this was 4 Chinese figural paintings. 38 pounds, and these are occupational, which are always very interesting. These are musicians. 2 of these are musicians. And again, roughly the same period as the other picture we just looked at. Yeah, I love this guy, the drummer. He's got the drum and the chime, and he's smoking his pipe, and he's sitting on this stool. Not too different than sort of what you see in a nightclub here in America. With the blues and jazz band, and they have the peddlers. There's 4 different watercolors in this lot. And somebody bought all of them for $38, all framed, all ready to hang. You can't buy a print for that. At any rate, this 38 pounds. So that was around $50 or $12.50 per picture. This is why you leave a bid. Just leave a bid. And these would have not been expensive to ship. And the duty would have been nothing because they only went for 38 pounds. So the duty, even with the tariffs out these days, the duty would have been about $6, and the shipping would have been nothing because they could be flattened and they'll fit in a postal shipping can handle it because they're not that big. So leave bids. Then there was this. Now this did okay. It was under. I thought the estimate was low. It was this landscape Republic period vase. They just called it 20th century. It looked Republic to me, from what I could see. Yeah, that looks like Republic work, the way the decoration's done. But very nice, beautiful enameling on this. Excellent, actually. And it measured just a hair under a foot tall. I mean, under 12 inches in height. It was 29 centimeters, so it was 11 3/4 inches tall. It was estimated at only 500 to 1,000 pounds, which was very low. It ended up going for 2,286 pounds, or around $2,800 US, but a very lovely vase. I'm sure it was in good shape. And again, it's hard to understand how this did fine right next to those paintings that didn't. No, there's two different subject matters, I realize, but there should be some sort of balance, you would think, in the auction markets. And there isn't. There's no balance left anymore. You have to look at things and decide if you like it enough to own it. Don't ever buy anything just because it's going cheaply, unless you're a dealer and you're trying to profit off of it. Buy things that are going inexpensively because you really do love them, and you just the added bonuses that it's a great example without having to spend a lot of money, which is great because it leaves money to buy more things from somebody else. All right, now this is the Roseberys sale here, and we're going to go through a few of the lots here. Not a lot of them, just 3 or 4 of them, just to give you some idea. I think overall they had a nice sale. They had some nice things in here. There was this very, very attractive Kangxi bowl, and I love this because I like the blue enameled dragon sort of dancing along underneath this shaped ring rim, and you got the flaming pearl over here, and this very nice aubergine colors. It was just this was a really pretty bowl. I just thought the bowl was plain pretty all the way around. There's the interior of it. There's the bottom of it with a Ming mark, of course. It's got an old Blewett labels on it, and the Blewett label is probably legit, I'm sure. It was estimated at 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. Ended up going for 3,936 pounds, which is around $4,500, which I don't think is a crazy amount of money at all for one of these. And it measured 8 inches in diameter, so it was a perfectly good-sized piece of porcelain. And I thought it was just a very, very charming bowl. But again, it's one of those things. If you went to Google it or throw it into the, Google Lens or look it up on the major websites, you're not going to find this pattern in this style with these very pretty, delicate colors on that milky white background very easily. If somebody else found one, comment down below and let me know you found one of these. All right, and tell me what it is you guys like. What do you collect? I'm always interested to hear what people collect. Just write it down below. I like this. I like this, and we can even look for those things sometimes. We've done it in the past. Find things that people like to collect that have said something, and we'll find auctions that have them in them. We have pretty good memories here, and we can say, "Oh yeah, if somebody asked about those, we'll cover it. We'll talk about it." Then there was this robe. Now this was a really nice, and this was a gauze, silk gauze robe. All right, dragon robe. And it sold for 31,000 pounds against an 8 to 12,000 pound estimate. Let it come in here. A little slow to load. But there we go. Beautiful colors, wonderful condition, and it's gauze. This was not a pure silk robe. This was a gauze robe. It was like a summer robe because gauze is a lot less hot than silk. Silk can get very hot. That's why they use them in robes. But the coloration on this light aqua blue, I thought was extremely nice. Did have a couple of little stains up here on the right around here on the just below the shoulders, but the workmanship was quite good, and this was a nice 19th century robe. Very, very attractive, and it brought a heck of a nice price, 31,440 pounds. That's about 38,000 in U.S. currency, but well worth it. The silk market is still pretty strong. That's the thing I'm finding really interesting. The silk buyers love them. And now this was kind of a surprise. This was a rhinoceros horn libation cup. This was a real rhinoceros horn, and it was sold in the UK. And there was nothing in the listing, and I'm sure that it'll come up, but I didn't see anything down here about shipping restrictions on this. Now, I'm sure there is. Whoever bought it, if they're in a different country, they're going to have to go through some struggles to get a CITES permit for it. But I'm very pleased to see there's a number of auction houses in the UK these days. I'm seeing them in France, and I just looked at another auction up in Canada today that had some ivory in it, and they're openly advertising it as ivory. They're not hiding it behind just calling it a carving or cow bone or some other silly word. They're coming right out and saying these are ivory. And on this one, they came right out and said it's a rhinoceros horn. Now, I'm not sure what the rules are these days in the UK on rhino horn, but they must be considerably looser than they are on rhino horns here in the United States. But it's a good sign that they're starting to allow them to sell, because I don't see any reason in the world not to let them sell. It's a spectacular art form. What's done is done, and always remember that at the time that these horns were being taken, there was no idea that they would ever become endangered or anything. It was just it was an animal, a byproduct of an animal. That's all. The way they did whale scrimshaw and all kinds of crafts that were made, kingfisher feathers and things. That's what people did back then. You can't condemn it. You have no right to condemn it. It was the tradition. It's what they did based on what they knew at the time, and it goes back. The Chinese have been, they started killing rhinoceroses back before the Shang Dynasty. When they made body armor out of the skins. So because there were a lot of people they forget how many rhinos. The biggest herds in the world of rhinos were in China at one point, pretty much, and they wiped them all out. But that's the way things go. All right, and then there was this very nice copper red Langyao dish, Kangxi period. It was estimated at 2,000 to 3,000, but it had very nice color, very deep, almost like dried blood. I hate to say it that way, but very deep color, very deep, rich color on this plate. And here's the back of it. And again, when you look at these, if it's a Kangxi plate, you expect to see this sort of green crackle vase on a glaze on the back. This was a very typical result on these. This was a heck of a nice plate. I thought it was very, very nice. And this is what the backs in bowls and plates can often have this sort of crackly greenish sort of finish on the back, and not always done in red. Sometimes there's a little red in it, but very often it's just like this. And this ended up selling for 13,000. It's 776 pounds, or around, it comes out to about 16 or 17,000 US dollars on a 2,000 to 3,000 pound estimate. So way over the estimate. And the plate, did they put the dimensions in 28 centimeters? That's an 11-inch plate, basically. And then hopping over to this very nice Guan type tripod sensor, 18th century, at an $800 to $1,200 estimate. And I think we mentioned this before the sale. I thought the estimate when I saw this, the estimate's really low for this. This is a very nice form. And I'll tell, not only I thought the estimate was low, I don't think the price was too much for this either. I think in another sale, this thing could have brought $5,000 to $7,000. This had a wonderful shape to it. It's got a very nice glaze. Has a double crackle, the rust-colored crackle plus the black crackle, and these little short, nicely done nub feet on the bottoms. And they were estimated, like I said, $8,000 to $1,200. Went for $4,900. That didn't surprise me at all. Another sale, I could see it bringing $6,000 or $8,000, $5,000 to $7,000. It could bring a good bit more. That was a nice piece of porcelain, and it was 18th century, and it measured 6.5 centimeters tall. So that's just about 3 inches in height. So it was not a huge sensor, but beautiful color, beautiful green color on that. Like that a great deal, and that sort of covers it. Really, just to give you a smear. There's so much stuff sold. Some things did sell, some things they didn't sell. Go through the Woolley and Wallis sale and the Roseberry lots, especially if you're a Japanese collector, because they had some buy-ins on the Japanese stuff. Because I think that, again, the Japanese market seems to be coming along a little bit, but I think that for the volume that was there for sale in the UK, I don't think there was enough money in the room to pay for it all. But I saw some unsold cloisonne lots between, I think they were at, I think it was Woolley and Wallis had them. Some awfully nice tapered, very tall, square-formed cloisonne vases that were pretty good size. I thought, boy, those didn't sell. Those were nice. Go through it and check it out if you're a Japanese collector. I think you might find some things worth reaching out about and maybe making yourself a deal and getting something very, very nice. All right, so that sort of covers this for the week. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend if you're in the U.S. We're doing nothing. The poppies are coming up. I'll try to get some pictures of the poppies this week out in front of our house. We have a little poppy field out there, and every spring it's just orange. It's so beautiful. I look forward to it every year, and this year's no different. They're just blooming in the last day or two because we're way behind. We're way behind. It's only 50 degrees here today. It's still chilly, but we're going to be doing some things around the place. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. We'll get the Grogan video out for you to have a look at, and we'll be doing more of those in the summer and in the coming year. And best to all of you. Have a great weekend, everyone. All right. Thanks for subscribe here if you haven't. Join us over on Patreon if you have a mind to, and we'll see you next time. All right. Bye-bye.